Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Hello there, my name is Colm and I'm very excited to speak to you, Adam Cook, as you've been playing Bloodborne.
I have, mate. I know you're not a huge Souls fan, but I really like those games. So this one being PS4 exclusive, I remember with Dark Souls 2, it was like, oh, it's a shame it's not next gen. Well, it is now, but this is like just PS4 this. And I played the first hour of it. So, I mean, hit me. It's weird, right? Because the Souls games, as such, like you could play an hour of it, but say in a month's time, that hour will probably be 10 minutes of gameplay because
I understand, because you're become much better at the game.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose the first thing is, right, in the opening 48 seconds or 40 seconds of this video, you've mentioned the Souls series an awful lot.
Yeah.
Like, this is a new series, Bloodborne, but okay, you hesitate to say new series. I mean, it is. It's a new name, but it's like, it takes a lot of the elements of the Demon Souls and Dark Souls of the world, I'm guessing.
Look, I don't think this game is... Look, it's really hard to describe because it's a Souls game. It is. It's a Souls game. Like instead of souls, you get blood echoes, but it's the same basic principle. You kill enemies and you collect blood echoes, like you would kill enemies and collect souls. Now, right away there is a difference. So in the Souls series, when you die, where you go back to that spot and you collect your bloodstain and you get your souls back, whereas in Bloodborne, it's like From Software, like the masters of trolling, because in this, when you die, the same thing happens. But an enemy can pick up your blood echoes and disappear with them, and you have to kill them to get it back. Now, so far, let's say I only played the first hour, that happened. Only really got them back once, because obviously at the start of the game, you're not really collecting that many blood echoes that it's really matters. But I wanted to see what happened. Now, the enemy has like glowing white eyes, so you can tell who has it. But,
okay.
But they are a moving target as such, and so it actually worked in my favour the first time, because like where there would be bonfires, now there are lanterns. Same thing in it, but you respawn or you come back to life at your lantern, and like one of the enemies, because I died quite far, further away from the lantern, and this enemy just had happened to pick them up and come back to near the lantern, so I got them back really easily. But I bet, I mean, this is speculation, pure speculation, because I've only played the opening hour, but I bet that could be a right bastard at times if they take them and go off somewhere. I don't know how much that, I don't know how deep that goes, but it could be. I think I experienced the good bit of it. I reckon that could be a real bastard.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, do you think that has the potential to actually, I suppose, change things negatively?
No, it's this it's not. Well, it's not standard because it's a new thing, but it's standard from sort of Souls kind of thing. Like,
well, yeah, but it's just making it a lot harder.
Yeah, but
though,
it didn't.
The fact that enemies.
In my case, it
didn't. Okay,
because they were closer to, so they weren't where I killed them.
Yeah,
someone picked it up and came closer. So it worked actually in my favour. It's coin toss, I guess, as to where the enemy goes. The biggest change. Go on.
That's what I was literally going to ask you. Is what is the biggest difference between the Souls series?
The biggest difference is quite easily described. Like in the Souls games, I would walk around with a shield up. Like you hold a button trigger, and you literally hold your shield up, because there's always moments in the Souls series where an enemy, you walk out of a very small corridor into an open room, and there's an enemy hidden around the corner, and he always jumps you. So I found that you basically end up holding your shield up all the time, because it's your defensive wall. Literally, that's what a shield is. But you walk around on the defensive all the time. Mm-hmm. Bloodborne doesn't have shields because you have a right-hand weapon and a gun in your left hand. So you can't pull up a shield. Now, there are elements of it. So, for example, with the gun, if you fire your gun at the right moment, you'll parry the enemy, stunning them, and you can really lay into them. But you can't shield. Like, Whereas in Dark Souls, someone would fire an arrow at you. You could put your shield up and take limited damage or none. In fact, there was, I think it was Dark Souls 2, there was a really heavy shield where like you were immune. It took a lot of your stamina off, but like it was a really good, huge shield. Like this you can't be... I don't think, again, this is based on the first hour, but I don't think you can be defensive in Bloodborne. I think that it's a quicker game. In general, it feels a lot quicker. The movement speed, everything about it, the dodging, it all feels quicker. But it's more aggressive. You have to be aggressive, because in the early stages of Dark Souls, like, you know, just the dregs, the grunt enemies come at you, and they're quite easy to dispatch. Now, similar to in that Bloodborne, they are quite easy to dispatch, but they come at you in bigger numbers. So it's kind of fight or flight. Like, you either take them out or you run, and you run far away, because you can't kite them, really. You can get round them because they still have a similar attack pattern, but some of them attack ferociously, some of them kind of stalk you almost. It's quite... the enemies are very... They look very Resident Evil 4 like, you know, they're walking with like torches or pitchforks. That village scene for Resident Evil 4, but you kind of have to be aggressive. So there's a scene in this opening bit where there's like a big bonfire, and there's this banging, like it's a constant, like bang, bang, bang. Like, it sounds like someone banging on a door, but you can't see what's going on. And there's like 6 enemies walking around, and another 6 around the bonfire. And you're like, that's a lot of enemies. So I first time I was like, you know, I've already feel conditioned to be aggressive. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to take them all on. And I died because I got about half of them gone. Then I realised there's a surrounding area where there's like a bloke shooting guns, and again, no shield to hold up, so you have to dodge and sort of juggling the melee combat and someone shooting you, and it's like, shit, I've made a big error here. I've taken these on because it's made me feel aggressive, and it's backfired. So I died. Second time.
Go on.
Well, no, second time I went back to it, I thought, well, I'm going to just leave them because they're all just looking at this bonfire like all excitedly. So I'm going to go around the back, take out the guy shooting me, and I'm going to head on. And so I just ignored them. And
all right, okay.
You get around the back and you realise the big banging is coming from this huge, I mean, not in terms of Dark Souls, in terms of the From's game, it's not that big. It's not a boss, but it's a new enemy. He's a big guy. He's slow, but he's big. And I look at him, and he's banging, and there's 2 little blood echoes on the floor, because like, you can pick stuff up. You know, there's items on the floor, you can pick them up like you could anyway. And From always do this. There's like a big enemy, and there's items, and you don't know what those items are, but you kind of think, well, they must be good because there's a big guy right on them. So I thought, you know, I'm not going to risk it because I've just got through this bit, quite far from the lantern, and I carried on. And I went up and fought some little grunt enemies and a couple of, I think it was like dog enemies, but the noise spooked this guy, and he came after me, and he's lumbering towards me, and I got rid of all the grunts, and it's just him against me, and I've got, again, no shield, whereas before I would be like, you know, I'm just going to take him on because I've got a shield. Can't do that, so I start firing the gun at him, thinking, well, I've got some range on him. Does very little attack, so I thought, well, I haven't really been using my gun very much. I've been melee all the time, so I don't know if that's how weak my gun is. The thing about Bloodborne, the thing about From's games is like, you encounter a new enemy and you don't know if you can take him on. You assume you can't because of the way video games work. As you progress through the ranks of enemies, they get more difficult. You assume it's going to be a tough battle, and I killed him. I decided I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take him on. This game said to me, you've got to be aggressive, so I'm gonna take him on, and I just about killed him. And the elation was like, that's the best moment of 2015 in games for me. That elation is the most elated I felt. I did it. And I don't know. It was that moment. I was like, I'm in. And then I went up some stairs and got killed by a grunt enemy. So it's like, oh, fuck. Bloodborne.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm sure you could probably wax lyrical on Bloodborne all day, but we shan't.
No, but I should just say that the other thing I want to point out is you'll be seeing this in the video, that the environments look so atmospheric, and also I'm barely touching on so much, and it's only from an hour. Like, there's so much I could talk about, like where you go to buy weapons, upgrade weapons. Like, it's like a Nexus type thing. There's so much I could talk about, but I don't really want to ruin other people's first hour experience, because often the first hour in a game's really where it gets you. You know what I mean? What I get so far from this is that, yes, it's a Souls game, but that fundamental difference of taking away a shield and making you aggressive. I mean, you're a hunter in this game. Do you know what I mean? You rather than some weedy little guy, you're just scared of everything. You are a hunter. Your role is to be aggressive, and that's different. That's very different for this series, and that I hope it continues in that vein because it's just yeah. I'm in. I can't wait to play more of this.
That's brilliant, Adam. I'm delighted to hear that Bloodborne is shaping up to be wonderful. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for watching.
Bye.